What's up guys, Phoenix here, and today we're going to be talking about the last wave of Kozmo support. The last 5 Kozmo cards that we are currently scheduled to get in the Shining Victories booster pack. They've all been spoiled, they've all been revealed, and as of right now, until further notice, this is the last wave of Kozmo support we will ever get. Now that could change. I mean, look what happened with BA. They went to the OCG, got OCG imported, and then the OCG printed a new card for them, which we then had to get imported in the form of Beatrice. But as of right now, as far as we know, this is the last 5 set of Kozmo cards that we will ever receive. And ultimately, in terms of like the support itself, it's pretty lackluster to me. I'm sure there are definitely some applications for this support, but it seems very much like the last wave of BA support, where there was literally like maybe one card that was worth playing out of that last wave of support, and that was Barbar. But outside of that, like, the rest of these cards are just very, very underwhelming to me. And this isn't going to be like a news video. It's just literally going to be more of a discussion, just me giving my opinions on the cards, simply because, like, if you've cared enough about the Kozmo archetype to, like, actually want to know what the cards did, then you should have found out yesterday when they were actually spoiled, and the day that I'm getting all this information from. So there's that. So, anyway, Kozmo Dark Planet, level 10 Dark Machine type effect monster, 4,000 attack, 4,000 defense. It's got the typical non-targetable thing that all the big ships have. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by banishing Kozmo monsters from your hand whose levels equal 10 or more, and cannot be special summoned by other means. Again, like I said, cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. During either player's turn, when a spell card is activated, you can banish one Kozmo monster in your graveyard, negate that activation, and if you do, destroy that card. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to your graveyard, banish it to search a level 9 or lower Kozmo monster and add it to your hand. Now, this card seems incredibly underwhelming, simply because of the fact that its summoning conditions are literally garbage. It's going to be a 3-card investment every time you want to summon this card, because you're going to have to summon it from your hand and then also banish 2 other Kozmos. Either that, or you're going to have to banish a Dark Planet for a Dark Planet. Like, that, at the very least, you can make this a 2-card investment, but even then, that means you're running multiple Dark Planets. If you're only going to be running 1 Dark Planet, which is probably what you want to be doing, just, you know, out of personal opinion, you're going to be in the situation where you're going to be banishing 2 cards out of your hand every time you want to summon this, and that's a problem. Like, its summoning conditions are literally garbage, and you cannot summon it through pilot effects because it can't be special summoned by other ways. So, it negates spells, which is cool, and it does banish Kozmo monsters from grave, which is cool. That's definitely a problem I've assessed with the deck. The more combo heavy you try to like make the deck, the more you just lose your resources into the graveyard. The graveyard has always been a place where you lose your resources in terms of big ships, and you really want to get them banished so you can access them with Strawman and Cosmotown. But this card really does that, because it's another Dark Eclipser, but this one does spells. So, I mean, there's that. This one's definitely more feasible to actually be triggering to banish Kozmo cards. But again, its summoning conditions are literally garbage. So, I mean, the fact that it's like the big boss monster of the Kozmo archetype makes me kind of just upset that it just, like, I feel like even though, all things considered, it probably should have been a little bit easier to summon. But that's just my opinion. I'm probably wrong, though. But anyway, next card, the Darth Vader, Kozmo Dark Lady, level 5 Dark Psychic type effect monster, 2200 attack, 1800 defense. During either player's turn, you can banish it, special summon a level 6 or higher Kozmo from your hand, so the typical pilot effect to special summon up a level. And once per turn during either player's turn, when another monster's effect is activated, you can pay 1,000 life points to get that activation, and if you do, destroy that monster. So this card effect does not target. The monster does not have to remain on the field. It doesn't matter where the monster effect is activated. It just has to be a monster effect activating period, and you can pay 1,000 to negate it. This card seems really good. What's unique about this card is that it's the first pilot that we've ever gotten that's higher than level 4. This is a level 5 pilot. All of our level 5 or higher monsters in the Kozmo archetype previously have all been big ships. This one is a pilot. But it being a level 5 pilot means that even though its effect is really good, you're going to have to use a pilot to go into this pilot. You're going to have to banish a pilot and summon this from your hand. But I do kind of see it being like playable, maybe as a one-of, just simply because effect negation is typically good, especially blanket effect negation like this one is. It literally negates an effect no matter where it activates, and it doesn't target the card itself, so it like gets around certain things as well. But ultimately, the fact that you actually have to, like, I don't think this effect would have been like healthy to put on a level 4 or lower pilot. Definitely not at all. But the fact that it is level 5 does make it really awkward, but I could see it getting some play. Kozmo Fearful Lion, level 2 light psychic type effect monster, 1200 attack and 500 defense. During either player's turn, you can banish this card, special summon a level 3 or higher Kozmo from your hand. Typical pilot effect. Once per turn, you can pay 500 life points and target 3 of your banished Kozmo monsters, return to the graveyard, and if you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Now this card, some people are saying this card is like decent. I think this card is terrible, but then again, all the people that I've talked to that think this card is good also think that you burn for 500 damage for each Kozmo card, when that's not the case. You literally burn for 500, you pay 500 life, put 3 Kozmo cards into the graveyard, and then your opponent takes 500 life. So you're literally not like increasing or decreasing life point deficits. You're not burning your opponent for more than you're taking, and also you're putting 3 of your Kozmos that are banished in your graveyard, and unless they're pilots, if you're putting big ships back, you're losing your resource pool. Your resource pool for your ships, you want to keep those banished. The only things that you'd really actually want to put in grave would be your pilots because of things like Sword Trooper existing. And now this card could have some merit to set up a lot of really cool Sword Trooper plays, because you could, put Sword Troopers, Farm Girls, and Strawmans back into your graveyard and then Sword Trooper them all back out through like Sword Trooper, Strawman, something like that. But as it stands, this card seems extremely underwhelming, and it might just be played for another pilot name, but even at that point, I feel like Strawman is just better. You'd probably just play more copies of Strawman before you play this card, especially if you're trying to reach, just have more level 2s that you can blink out into your Sword Troopers and Farm Girls and Wicked Witches. I'm not sure, but to me the card seems incredibly underwhelming. But anyway, the new trap card, Cosmorning. Continuous trap card. Monsters destroyed in battle by Kozmo monsters you control are shuffled into the deck instead of being sent to the graveyard. You can banish this card from your graveyard this turn. The first time you would take battle damage from a battle involving a Kozmo monster you control, you gain that much life points instead. This doesn't have a turn restriction on it either, so you can literally banish it at any point. You can banish it at any point, and then for the rest of that turn, the first time you would take battle damage, you increase your life points by that much. So, that actually just kind of is a little bit of just a good sort of thing. It's like a Necrogardna, essentially, where you can just banish it whenever, and it just negates the first attack. But as it stands, this card, just it being a trap is mainly what's going to probably keep this card from being played. I don't think this card will be played, period. I mean, it does have applications in the mirror match as well as against BA, because it shuffles the cards back into the deck. They never hit the graveyard, so it turns off the floaters, essentially. So this card could be potentially sided for the mirror match, and for against BA and stuff, but ultimately that's the highest sense of use I see this card getting. It's not really that great. Its graveyard effect is kind of alright, simply just to force your opponent to do specific play lines to have to play around giving you a ton of life to get over your stuff, or they could just not kill your things. And I mean, there's that, which makes it function as a pseudo threatening roar, but still I think it's very, very underwhelming in terms of a last wave of support. But anyway, the last Kozmo card that was ever leaked, I think this card is absolutely irrelevant. But I could just be wrong. I'm just completely put off by this entire wave of support, essentially. But anyway, last Kozmo card, Kozmo Walker, level 6, 2400, 1200, Dark Machine type monster. If one or more of your Kozmo cards would be destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect, you can destroy a different Kozmo card you control instead. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect instead of the graveyard, you can banish this card, special summon one level 5 or lower Kozmo monster from your deck. So you can pop your field spell to keep your monsters alive and get searches there. There is that. The fact that this does give blanket protection from cards like Raigeki and Tharkol and System Down and stuff. Well, actually no, System Down doesn't destroy, does it? I think it literally just removes from play. I have to double check that, unfortunately. Give me just one sec. I do not know where my copy of System Down is. I'm going to assume that System Down just removes from play. Just because I feel like it just removes from play. But yeah, this doesn't protect against that, which is honestly the biggest problem the deck has, is, getting System Down for your entire board. But this does let you dodge blanket destruction effects, but it's just still, it doesn't seem the best by any stretch of what I would consider, good for an archetype. In terms of, I don't know, maybe I'm just overlooking something really, clearly obvious, but all of this support just basically just keeps moving with the trend of Cosmos being a slow, just oh, I'm going to do this turn, and then this turn, and then this turn, and oh, hello, Dark Destroyer's here. type of deck, when the support could have like played on the strengths of the archetype to like actually formulate more of a combo-oriented theme, and then the deck would have had a full span of an evolutionary period that goes from it literally being the most linear thing possible to being very heavily combo-oriented. So, ultimately, I feel like Fire King Island being released actually is more Kozmo support than... It supports the deck better than any of this Kozmo support actually does, in my opinion. But that is strictly just my opinion. I'm very, very underwhelmed with all of this Kozmo support. This entire set of support, just the only card that actually like looks remotely playable is Dark Lady, and like that is maybe a one of. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this Kozmo support in the comments down below. I'm not a huge fan of it, and I feel like Fire King Island does more for the deck than any of these 5 cards do, essentially. But anyway, like I said, that's just my opinion. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to all the nonsense you usually do. Links are in the description of my Facebook pages and Twitch links. If you want to check those out, feel free to do so. That's why they're there. If you want to support me, clicking ads on my videos and disabling ad block while you view them is more than sufficient. Can't express how much it helps, nor how much it would be appreciated by myself. But that has been all for this video of my opinions on this new Kozmo stuff. And as always, guys, take care.